All right. Last week's game, I thought the guys came out and fought hard, didn't give up. We didn't get the W, but we competed for 60 minutes, and that's all you can ask for. Ask for effort, and ask the guys to compete and play their hardest. And then you look up at the scoreboard at the end of the game and see what the score is, and we was a little bit short. But I was pleased with the effort the guys gave offensively, defensively, special teams. So I wasn't disappointed by that. I was disappointed in the outcome, and we'll work on that, keep getting better. They had more scholarships, and they can run sub people in when we couldn't, and they played the toll in the game. And but I'm proud of our guys where they played. This week's opponent, William and Mary, very good football team, tough, solid. They're ranked in every poll. I think the lowest, number 17. Played Virginia Tech last week at their place, very tough, losing 34-9. So, I mean, you go on the road to play Virginia Tech at their place and hold them to 34 points and score 9 on them. I think you did a good job, and you can be proud about your team and your effort. So, we got a big test coming up this week with those guys coming in here, and we look forward to the challenge. We respect all, fear none, and we'll be ready to play on Saturday. All right, I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, how did you think J.J. played at quarterback on Saturday?
I think J.J. played well. He, for the most part, he had an excellent football game. He made a couple mistakes with the fumble in the field, trying to scramble a little bit and trying to make a play with his legs when he got some pressure. And so he got to do a better job of protecting that football when he pulled it down the run. And then on the goal line, they blitzed his B gap, and really probably should have got that pass off, but he took maybe one extra step there, and it cost us. And so when he was trying to throw, the guy hit him, and when they landed, he came down with the ball, and it actually wound up being a turnover instead of just a sack. And so that was a big play in the football game. But, he fought. He got a couple nagging injuries on his wrist and his hand, and, he never quit. He stayed in the game and kept battling, and just realized it was part of the football game. So he showed a lot of intestinal fortitude to be able to bounce back after a couple of nagging injuries and keep fighting and give his team a chance to win.
You said last week that at this time that you hadn't made a decision on a starter and it might just be a game time deal. When did you decide to go with him?
I decided on Monday. I just told you that. I decided on Monday. I told those guys after our meeting on Monday, I told those guys who the starter was, who the backup was. But I just did that for ODU, so they wouldn't know.
Okay. So, is he going to, you mentioned a couple of nagging injuries. Is he the starter this week as well?
Yes, he is. It was just a couple hand injuries, football injuries, and on game day. He's a tough guy. He'll be playing.
What have you seen from him in terms of improvement? I mean, he's a kid that hadn't thrown for 200 yards in a game before, and he throws for 400 against Old Dominion. What did you see from him in terms of improvement and what he does, even from last spring to through camp and the other day?
Well, it all starts up front, and if you get the time to throw it, I think we got some nice weapons at the wide receiver position that can get down the field and get open, and the line protected, and that makes the quarterback job easy. He just do what he's been doing all his life, throwing the ball across the middle, throwing it down the sidelines, throwing it to the flats. So when his offensive line does their job and the receivers get open, then the quarterback job is easy and just complete balls. And we put it up 45 times, so he was 32 or 45, which was great, and both school records. And I just think that he was ready for that day. He was ready for the stage. He was doing the little things, making his reads, taking what the defense gave him. And that's what we preach. That's all we can do is we want to play to our strengths and the defense weaknesses. Take what they give you. Don't force the ball. And he didn't force the ball. The interception, the guy made a great play, and he kind of floated it over the outside backer's head, and then it gave the safety time to come in and make a great play on it. But he really missed a read on that play. We had a wide receiver streaking down the sideline. He missed him. But that's one of his bad plays, and you're going to make some mistakes as a quarterback. You just got to minimize them and keep going and don't make the same mistakes.
Given that William and Mary played, like you said, basically playing a top 25 caliber FBS team, what can you tell from that tape in terms of just William and Mary's personnel and what they do?
I can tell they got a good football team. I mean, like I said, they played the ACC opponent and played them tough. And they got a All-American wide receiver, preseason defensive end as player of the year. They got 2 linebackers that's all-conference. They got a couple other all-conference players. So they got a very, very good football team with a lot of all-conference players. And the challenge this week to score points will be tough. But we look forward to it. And like I said, we'll be ready Saturday.
You weren't able to run the ball very effectively the other night. Do you aim for a little more balance this week? Of
course, every week. Every week we try to be balanced. We want to try to be as close to 50-50 as we can. They kind of made us one-dimensional last week, but we were still able to throw the ball, which is, not the easiest thing to do when you can't run the ball and still throw the ball. But fortunately, we was able to still throw the ball. We still went some play action and maximum protect, and was able to get the ball downfield.
Defensively, you played. You have a handful of freshmen that played, and how did you feel like those guys did the other day?
I think they did good. We played some freshmen, and they had to play a lot of snaps. They had to grow up fast, and against a very good offensive team in ODU. I thought those guys did a great job last week, and they grew up a lot. And pretty soon here they're not going to be freshmen anymore. About week 5 or 6, they won't be freshmen anymore. So, I've been trying to tell people, we got a young football team. We got a young football team, but I think we can be competitive with, even though we are young and don't have a lot of experience.
They were able to run the ball. William Mary was able to run the ball pretty effectively against you guys last year. I don't even know if you even looked at that video, and given the new staff and different year and all that stuff, do you take much from last year's video?
Well, we just look at their schemes. They got a little bit of different personnel, but they're going to be running pretty much the same plays: power, inside zone, ISO, things of that nature. They want to come downhill at you, and so we got to kind of prepare for that and try to stop the running game and force them to throw the ball, because they really want to run the ball. They don't want to throw it. So we got to try to take the running game away from them and force them to throw the ball.
Looked like in the second half last week, a number of guys were suffering from cramps from the heat and stuff. And you've got the new field out here. It's been hot all week long. Are you going to be looking to get those guys ready to go for as far as health-wise this week?
Yes, all those guys that had cramps in the game are back practicing now. I think ODU had a couple guys, too, that went out with some cramps. It was very humid out there Saturday, and, we try to prepare for that and stay hydrated and drink water all week long with our water bottles and Gatorade and work the guys in the heat. But that's probably one of the hottest days of the summer so far, and that's what happened. You just can't prepare for it if you're practicing at 83 degrees every day, and then Saturday is 90. You just can't prepare for it. It's just going to catch up with your body. So those guys was able to get a couple of IV shots, and some guys just got some Gatorade and things and got back in there. They'll be fine this week.
What do you guys feel like you need to do better this week that maybe, when you went back and looked at the video, that you guys didn't get done or didn't do well enough this past week?
Well, really, Dave, we need to get better in everything. We need to cover the kicks a little better. We need to return the kicks better. We need to punt better. We need to cover punts better. We need to play better on offense. We turned the ball over 3 times. We dropped a couple balls. We dropped the fumble. We missed some blocks. We missed some assignments, made some bad reads. Defensively, we missed a couple sacks. We missed some assignments, lined up wrong a couple of times, and missed a lot of tackles. So we got a lot of work to do. It's earlier in the season, and we got to stick with the fundamentals and tackling and catching the ball and doing the little things, and that'll be the difference from here on down the road. Just doing little things and keep getting better every day.
Hey, just a remark or two about the game that Jorian had overall in terms of all-purpose yards, and any thought to trying to get him even more touches in different ways?
Yeah, we got to. We got to try to get him the ball as much as possible. We got to get it to him a little bit more on offense. But again, like I said, we couldn't run the ball the way we wanted to. But we did get him, throw him a couple of swing passes and a screen pass, and so we got to try to continue to do that and get him outside a little bit more, because he's dangerous when he get the ball in his hands. As you see, I think he hit 243 yards total, all-purpose. So he's dangerous with the kickoff return, punt returns, and in the backfield. So we got to do a little bit better job of getting him the ball a little bit more.
You list Grooms again as a nose tackle, and typically nose tackles are a little heavier and heftier than 245-pound guy. How much do you move him around, and what's the effectiveness of a guy that's that light in the middle of a 3-4?
Well, last week we thought that their center was their worst lineman. And so we wanted to put our best lineman against their worst lineman. And so that's why we started them at nose last week. They get pushed to try to stop inside zone and get pushed in the passing game to where the quarterback couldn't step up. It didn't necessarily work out exactly the way we planned it, but that was the game plan, that we thought that out of their linemen that their center was the weakest. And so we wanted to put our best guy there and try to take advantage of that matchup. This week he really won't be at nose. We're gonna have a 3 and a 1 technique, and so he'll be switching back and forth in between those, and he could line up outside too. He probably would play probably 3 different positions on the defense line this week.
Hey, you mentioned, I guess back during fall camp, when Miles was nicked up a little bit, and, you made the remark that, yeah, he's a really good player and has a big rep, but he's got to start making plays for us. I mean, is he 100%? Did you see, have you seen more of the playmaking ability over the last couple of weeks from him?
It's there, but he has to. He's out of shape a little bit. He's not in tip-top shape, and then he just got to continue to do the little things that the coaches are asking him to do. He had a couple opportunities to get some sacks. If he'd have been where he was supposed to be and did the things he was supposed to do, he would have had 2 sacks Saturday. But, he didn't quite do it, and so we got to get him to the point to where he buys in all the way and trust the system and do the little things. And I asked him, I said, Miles, you watched the tape? I said, if you did what Coach said you did, would you have had any sacks Saturday? He said, I would have had 2. So he sees it, and now he just got to believe in it and trust in the system and do it, and he become the player that he can be. He can be a great football player, but he has to do the little things also.
You have, a couple of new guys and trying to work in with the 4 linebacker scheme, or 3 guys in a row or whatever. But how'd you feel like that group did on Saturday?
I think they had a solid performance. I think they could have did a little better because they did gashes a couple times right up the middle. So those guys got to do a little bit better job of getting off blocks, making tackles, and just punishing guys. Letting them know that you're there instead of grabbing and hanging on and shoestringing people and things of that nature. They need to hit them in the mouth. They need to hit them in the mouth and let them know they're there. That's what linebackers do. So. We got to continue to get better, and we will. We've been working on it this week, and hopefully we'll see a big improvement this week.
He had a couple interceptions by Breon Key, kind of in a more reserve role. Will his role expand, or was that just kind of the way the game unfolded in terms of substitution patterns and stuff? Well,
the corners that we had in front of him wasn't performing, and we're gonna play the best guy, and if the guy's out there not performing, we think the guy behind him can. We're gonna put him in the game, and that's what happened in his case. The guys just wasn't making plays and getting it done out there, so we put Breon in, and Breon started making plays. So that's the way we run our system. You know, if you're not making plays and the guy behind you we think can, we're going to put him in the game and see. Now, if you're not making plays and the guy behind you can't, we don't think he's better than you, we're going to leave you in there. And so that's where Breon was able to get some playing time and made the best of it. You know, got us 2 big interceptions, and it was huge, and, you know, swung the momentum. I think we scored on one of them, and the other one we didn't.
He's still not listed as even on the 2 deep right now. Is that, I mean, is he one of your, I mean, you think he's one of your 4 best cornerbacks?
Oh, yeah, he is. He is. He'll be out there on Saturday. He'll be out. He'll get to play. I don't know what happened on that, but he'll be out there. He'll be one of our corners that we depend on. He's physical. He's a big guy, and he'll definitely be on the field.